before I break this interview down with Derrick James on the Last Stand podcast, I'm going to give him some flowers real quick. So Derrick James, to me, is one of the best trainers, arguably the best trainer as of recent. He's also, won Coach of the Year or Trainer of the Year, well deserved. He got 2 top tier fighters that he's training, and he got a young prospect that he's also training he's doing well with. And there's a possibility that he could be training Anthony Joshua. But with that being said, him being a manager or trying to sound like a manager and everything, this shit is nothing but cappery, because there are a lot of flaws I'm going to break down in this interview that this man just started capping on, and he contradicted himself heavy. If he ain't contradict himself, he contradicted other cats that are on the PBC roster that be using that furniture talk. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Were you, and I'm talking about as a camp, disheartened when you heard Bud's rationale, where he had said, "Hey, look, I felt like they kept putting the fight off. I said I wanted to fight this year. They wanted to make the fight in 2023, and I'm going where I'm gonna get paid, and I'm gonna fight this year."
Well, I think that one of the reasons, what the funniest thing about it is, to never fight to be at this level, never really truly fight on a big pay-per-view fight card, right? Is to not really understand the business aspect of it. And I think that to build a fight is what makes the fight. And so what happened when you see him take this other fight and not build the fight, and see you don't get, like, he gets what he wants, but the promoters as a whole don't get what they want.
So cappery number one, as you can see, Derrick James seems to be more concerned of what the actual promoters make than the actual fighters. He also said to build a fight, well, to make the fight, you have to build a fight. Well, let's see. Terrence Crawford been trying to build this fight with Errol Spence for years, while he was even with Top Rank. And for some reason, the fight still hasn't come to fruition, because there were nothing but barriers that was put in front of Terrence Crawford this whole time when he was trying to get the fight with Errol Spence. Errol Spence was the one that used all of these excuses that his most diehard fans will sit up here and cap and act like you supposed to fight Errol Spence on Errol Spence time, as if like he's a Floyd Mayweather, a Manny Pacquiao, or an Oscar De La Hoya. Well, hey, shit, let's go to modern day. Like he's a Canelo or Anthony Joshua. Let's continue.
You don't put up millions of dollars to lose millions of dollars, right? So I think that's the part of life that you really doesn't truly understand as a fighter and not a businessman. As a businessman, you have to build. I mean, you've been part of these big shows, and you see what we have to do. You travel out to Dallas, you travel here, you travel there, and it's like press conference, media. I mean, all access or whatever. Everything to build a fight. But if you see in his uneducated perspective of what he thought boxing is, he got the fight, but he was the only winner, not the promoters, so they thought, you know what I mean? So I think that.
So, here's another cat, Derrick, used by Derrick James. When you're running a business, for one, what's the purpose of having a business or being a business or whatever? To make money. You provide a service, right? That's another way you could sell, and things like that, but to make money. You saying he made money for him, but not for everybody else. Well, he's a businessman. He got to look out for him and his family. Remember, he's the one that's getting in the ring, putting his life on the line in the sport of boxing. But in this situation, we listening to Derrick James, and this dude is playing more of a captain, save the PBC with this nonsense that's coming out of his mouth. You're supposed to be a trainer, but you're sitting up here acting like you're the actual manager. Because what I thought the manager or advisor was Al Heyman for Errol Spence. But I don't know. Let's continue.
And at the same time, I think that if you were to go into negotiation now with those numbers, you have no leg to stand on. As Fat Joe said, yesterday's price is not today's price. Because what we assumed yesterday was an assumption, but today is a fact. And you can't come up in my face talking to me about this or that, and that's what you're doing. So I think that it was like something that was unnecessary for him to find out. Because you can go through life believing you're something in particular, and that's cool because you believe it's who you are for yourself, right? But when somebody tells you no, you're 15,000, whatever the numbers were, because I don't really know what they were. I just heard about it. My brother sent me some stuff. So when you think about, that's who you are now. So you can't come and talk about, but you can't, no, that's who you are. I'm a reference who you are.
Yeah.
Again, Derrick James, you're supposed to be a trainer. I didn't know you had the responsibility of being a manager. Maybe you do. But again, I didn't know that. And I don't think too many people did know you had the role of being a manager. Because to be totally honest with you, you're not a manager. You're a trainer. And if you do have that role of being a manager, more power to you. But to sit here and say yesterday's price is not today's price, you show who you are. You did about 15,000, or I guess your brother, whoever told you the numbers. Who is your brother? Fanon? Where are you getting these numbers from? Because it's obvious you don't know shit about the business of boxing yourself. But you're an excellent trainer. You're a hell of a trainer. But as far as business, I don't think that's your forte, buddy. But to sit up here and say who somebody is and who they aren't, it's I kind of find that real funny when all of Errol Spence opponents were getting guarantees. And you mean to tell me these guys are more relevant than Terrence Crawford? Man, go sit down somewhere with that. Let's continue.
I mean, you can't hide behind the machine of ESPN and Bob Arum. That's a machine, right? But they still really didn't promote pay-per-view fights. They had pay-per-view fights. They didn't truly promote, but I think now he's by himself. I think it's something totally different.
Do you think they'll fight eventually?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think that it may not happen because remember, his perspective of who he is something totally different than those numbers say. And those things are not going to add up. And he shouldn't think any less of himself. But in reality, we have to understand what the market says. And the market says no.
Okay. The only thing I agree with Derrick James in this segment is that Terrence Crawford shouldn't think any less of himself. But as far as that other shit he just said, it makes absolutely no sense. And I'm not saying this because, I like Terrence Crawford and, more than I like Errol Spence. I'm just saying in general. Because first, he came out and he said, you can't hide behind Top Rank. And then now you're on your own and you think you better than what it is because the market says no. Well, let me just say this right here. If it wasn't for Jerry Jones, what would the market really say about Errol Spence? Because let's just be honest, ever since the Mikey fight, Errol Spence numbers has been trending downwards. So that just goes to show that who was really bringing the money in. Mikey Garcia. So let's just be real about that for a second. Let's continue.
Is it disappointing when, I'm talking about for the sport of boxing, that fight like that doesn't happen, especially if you look over and you say, man, Tank and Garcia gets made. God, this for fight fans, this would have been phenomenal.
Right.
Phenomenal for the sport.
That's why you see like one fight can be made, one fight can't be made. Like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder was made, right? Or Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia was made. But this fight was not able to be made. Why is that? In all three of those scenarios, there was one individual, one company in kind, right? It was, PBC. So to say the PBC doesn't work with all these other people is asinine, because you saw them work with other people, right? Golden Boy, they work together, right?
And there's some people who said that PBC was the reason. There's a narrative out there that's like, that's the reason why this fight didn't get made.
But then at the same time, he worked with, they promoted the fight with Tyson Fury twice. They promoted the fight with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. So what is that about? So is it really that situation? I mean, that's what you gotta question. I mean, so I don't think it is.
Well, let's see. So Derrick James come out of his mouth and said the PBC were willing to work with all of these promotional companies. Well, that's what I was trying to think about. Because when he made those comparisons by saying Top Rank, and PBC were able to work with each other twice between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, I was thinking to myself like, why didn't the PBC want to work with Top Rank when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence? See, this is where you contradict yourself out here, buddy. See, for one, it was your guy, Errol Spence, who decided to say, other side of the street. It was your guy, Errol Spence, who decided to say, I fight for Showtime and Fox. Terrence Crawford needs to come over here. So what happened to these cross-promotional deals when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence? See, this is where you contradict your own goddamn boy, your own guy that you train. Everybody been saying, hey, PBC ain't trying to work, you know what I'm saying, to get this fight. Everybody said it. Top Rank, as a matter of fact, Bob Arum said he reached out to Al Heyman and they said if we could do the fight. But it's Errol Spence who doesn't want the fight. I remember Errol Spence was complaining about the guys in the suits. See, this is the part where a lot of people be sitting up here getting shit confused, saying Terrence Crawford needs to sign the PBC. Why did he re-sign with Top Rank? Well, let me see. Top Rank was the one spinning the bag on Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is the highest paid welterweight. Why wouldn't he resign with Top Rank? What do you think he's supposed to get? Back end money only from the PBC? Get those $1 million guaranteed paychecks? Come on. Let's make that make sense. And for the record, Sean Porter was the guy who got his highest payday fighting Terrence Crawford on Top Rank, not on the PBC. And another thing, he said PBC was able to work with Golden Boy to get a fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Well, it's obvious that fight isn't even set in stone yet. There are no contracts signed that I'm aware of, and if they are, it hasn't even been published. Now, there might have been an agreement or some sort, but again, there's nothing there. So let's just continue. All right, actually, that's it. That's all I'm going to touch on for now. But like I said before, Derrick James is an excellent trainer, but as far as him talking about the business, as far as his fighters with the PBC and Al Heyman and all these guys, the shit just doesn't add up. I mean, like I said, there's some contradictions that he done stated that contradicted the whole shit that the Errolsexuals and Errol Spence himself, been trying to push, the narrative that they were pushing. But anyway, that's all I got for now. With that being said, you're watching Bold and Understanding. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And on the end of that note, family, peace.